Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. G Topo here. Welcome back to Being a Fine Figure. About a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, I got my first ever Mcfarlane DC Multiverse figure, and that being, as you can see on the screen, the Action Comics 1000 Superman. And that pretty much set off a reaction. At the time, as I stated before in all of my videos, I basically just collected Mattel, WWF figures, whatnot. Have tons of Hulk Hogan's. I've known you've seen by the videos by now. I have, any wrestler out there, especially my favorite ones that you can think of. And I wasn't really into just getting into the foray of collecting Marvel or DC or that. But, things change. I used to collect G.I. Joes and stuff when I was a kid. Then I also moved away from that. Today, it's a different story. So I figure also about a year ago, I did a video on my small Superman collection at the time, which consisted about 6 or 7 figures. And ever since then, obviously, if you think Mcfarlane cranks up Batman to left and right, Superman's pretty much catching up to Batman as far as the amount of Supermans that Mcfarlane has gone out, also put out in such a short period of time. So I figure I do a little updated to the video that I did earlier and show my collection of Mcfarlane Supermans to this point. So without further ado, in no particular order, because at this point I don't remember in the order that I purchased them or whatever, but I know for sure that this was the one that started it all. It just reminded me of the old school comic books. Huge Superman fan. And I remember as a kid seeing the Superman movie, Christopher Reeve version. I think it was 1980 when I first saw it. And ever since I was hooked as far as Superman, I used to collect the Justice League comic books, Superman comic books and whatnot. And when I came across this particular figure, it's still to this day one of the best. I know there's a few out there that aren't too bad as far as what he's done, Mcfarlane has done lately, but this one is pretty much still holds up as one of the best that he's done. So I figure I'll start with that one and work my way up and, show you them little by one at a time, how big the collection. And it's just basically just straight Supermans. I know there's Supermans, I have Lex Luthor with the power suit and the S, Supergirls and all that, but this video is just basically going to just give you an update on my current Superman collection. So without further ado, let's keep going. So part of my original 7, I also know for a fact that the Bizarro figure was the second one that I purchased. I got it for like $8 on eBay at the time. And it was a pretty good deal considering I got brand new. It wasn't scuffed. It was still in the box too. So I thought at the time that was a good deal, and it's actually a pretty good. I mean, the body on it's actually pretty good. And then I also at the time I got the Unchained armor and didn't understand it, but I thought it was cool. I mean, the details, the colors of it. It's actually a nice figure there. I'm actually going to put it all the way to the back of the wall because for some reason it's still a little heavy on the wings in the back, and it tends to always tapping over. So in my collection, it's against the back of the details because it's always falling backwards for some reason. I remember when the Justice League also came out at the time, the figures came out for the movie, and I was able to nab this version, the black suit version. At the time, in the the red and blue suit version was a little harder to come by. I mean, I eventually did end up getting it, but at the time I just had this one, the black suit one. The features of it, I mean, it kind of resembles Henry Cavill, but still, I mean, it was a couple years ago, so I know if they do it to this day, it might look a little bit better, but it still holds up. Actually, let me make room because there's quite a few of them coming. Another one of my original 7 was the this cool version of the heavy metal, death metal version. I thought that was pretty cool. It was unique and different. So A lot of these have some, Mcfarlane has a way of taking these characters, short series characters, and just putting them out. And the only bad thing is that the holes in the bottom are really big for some reason, and the stands just easily come off. It doesn't really hold on. So I don't know if it's just my figure or if all the figures that way. No matter what I do, the peg holes are just a little bit too big and they're always coming off. But it's another figure that I thought it was cute, and it's actually not bad. Actually, let me put him up there. And then, of course, the infected ones. I think at the time was my third figure that I was able to get. I also got it on eBay at a decent, I think it was like $7 or something on Biz. Nobody was bidding on it. I did get the hands. I also did get the fist hands for it. So it wasn't in a box, but with this figure, I got some Age of Apocalypse Marvel figures also as part of the deal. I think I ended up paying, I don't know, like $30-something for about 8 different figures. Some guy wanted to get rid of, and you know, got me a good deal on a lot of those figures. So that was the infected Superman. And then the last part of the original collection was, of course, the Red Sun. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was not bad. I did see the cartoon on Netflix at the time when they had it. I know right now I think it's might be on Max, HBO Max. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, it was, you know, different. You know, wasn't too thrilled about the story, but again, Mcfarlane made it into a figure and at the time, and I was like, hey, why not? It's another Superman. Let's snap him up. The facial expression was different too, as opposed to the other ones that he was staying. So, you know, plus the head, you know, it was not bad. It was nicely done. The details, the paint ups on it was good. And the black trunks kind of adds to it. Wasn't too crazy about the cape. It reminded more of like a Supergirl type cape. But again, something different, something, you know, unique. One-story characters that he had been made into a figure. So, as my collection kept growing, I ended up getting some. And again, in no particular order. I'm just going to start pulling them out. There's just so many I don't remember at all that when I bought them. All right, so next was the black suit Superman, or the regeneration suit Lewis and Clark, Superman and Clark. Oh, I don't know, one of those. I forgot what it was, how it went. Superman and Lois Adventures or something. Pretty good. I dig this version here. It did have some minor stuff on it, but it's black, so it doesn't really bother me too much. The skin tone, I wish it was a little bit lighter, but I mean the facials on it, I mean the face, it's the same one, dead on. The beard, nicely detailed on everything. The S on the top, it was this is one of the better figures that he did on it. Then I came across the Ultraman, and I didn't know anything about the figure or the Crime Syndicate because it's been a while since I've been into the modern comics. But thank God that they had the movie out, so I was able to watch it, and I thought it was nicely done. So I think it was part of what was it? Injustice? I don't know, but I know it had to do with time travel, and they ended up going to the you know, the Earth 3, whatever. And I know I just seen it a couple months ago on the Mac, so now I get to appreciate the figure more. The face is a little bit too young to the source material. He was a little older, and but it's still a nice looking figure, and it has a good budding mold on it, and the cape is a great cape. Now keep in mind, none of these figures, or none of the Superman figures at the time, had the S in the back, or, you know, or any other lettering, or the U or anything. But you know, they must have his reasons why. But again, another something different, and actually doesn't look too bad. The colors on it is actually pretty good too. Let's move the camera over a little so I can catch more of that. Of course, the one not too recently, it's one of my favorites ones, and I know they're going to come up with another version, is the Superman Hush. Mean, evil one. I know they're going to come up with a regular one soon. Hopefully they'll hurry up. And this was nicely done. And it's one of the first figures with the S in the back that Mcfarlane pulled out. I love the detail of it. I like the cape. Of course, they used the same body sculpt as all the other ones in the Bizarro. But it works. I mean, it actually works. And again, it's Superman. It's the original colors. The S, it's great. And again, S on the back. So, and then one of the more recent ones also has been the Project Superman from the Flashpoint series. I know the Flash movie is out there and has been replaced by Supergirl instead of Superman. But this comic version, it's not as frail as I would have liked. He looks like he worked out, even though the original one was, you know, beat up, starved, wither of a man. But at least we have a version of a Project Superman, and I was kind of happy about that. Not too crazy about this young John Kent body, but I mean, all of the younger figures now have it, so you can't be for $20. You can't beat it. I got Superboy Prime. Something about this figure that I like. I like the whole mechanisms and the cyborg type look that they kind of give it. I mean, he's a young guy, you know, but he's Superman. I mean, the details of it was nicely done. The cape, I mean, everything. It's a nice figure. The articulation is this, you know, all the hoses and stuff doesn't hinder the articulation one bit. It's a nice figure. The ass, everything. I mean, it was just great. I mean, this is a really good version that he did. So of course I had to get my hands on it. Another more recent figure has been the Gladiator Superman here, or Powerless Superman. I was able to go back and, again, stories that I stopped reading comic books a long time ago, so stories that I missed out. But it's a nice Superman. I like the head. It is a little small sometimes when you try to swap it out with some of these others, but for those customers that are out there, I mean, it's a nice. The gray, the stubble. I mean, the details on the figure, it's great. It's a little small. It's even smaller than the actual 1000, which up to this point it is one of the smallest Superman he has out there. But it works, you know, it works. It's just a little bit hard to, when you do it and you pose them against, even the recent Gladiator Batman, it's a lot bigger than this Superman. This Superman is even smaller than the Superboy Prime, as you can see. So it's one of the smaller body sculpts out there. And then I was able also to manage to get a hold of the regular blue and red suit Superman from the DC Justice movie version. The head sculpt hasn't improved. It's basically the same thing as the other one. It is this one in particular is a lot better than the black suit one. The black suit one just a little too plain. This one highlights his features a little bit more, which I was happy about that. And of course, the details and the texture of the uniform. Oh, Jesus, I need to dust these down. It's a lot better. So I was kind of glad I got my hands on it, because I know now it's a little bit expensive on eBay. So I'm glad I got it when I got it at still a decent price. And of course, they're ringing out little by little the Supermen from the Death of Superman, Reign of the Superman. They do have this version of Con-El, or Connor, or it's missing the glasses, and you know, it does have the S in the back, which I thought it was cool. I know that this was an exclusive, so I'm hoping that they do have another version with the shades on, a little bit younger. But they did use the John Kent body sculpt here, and they actually not bad. I mean, the jacket itself, I mean, it has that leathery look. I know it's plastic, but it gives you that nice shine. And you know, I got it as soon as the pre-orders came out, so and then I got it within like a couple of weeks of ordering it, so I thought that was pretty cool. And again, they did a good job. It's a nice figure here. Start sliding these over. So as you can see, it's grown quite a bit, and I'm still have a few more. Of course, keep talking about it. Might as well bring it out. The Jonathan Kent Superboy or Superman. Again, to me, I guess it's just another, added another Superman. It's like the Batmans. There's a lot of Batmans out there. Some of them might not be as great as some people want, but I still get them anyway. And same thing with this figure. I thought it would have looked better once I got it, but there's a lot of things of it that I didn't like. But it's not a total, dud. It's not total garbage. I just think they could have done better with the suit and the details of it a lot bit better. So hopefully, if they do come up with another version, maybe a Titan version, I'd rather have, yeah. Oh, and by the way, the joints and the things is very loose on this figure, and the arms are always coming off, which was probably the beginning of the recent issues I've been having with some of these Mcfarlane figures where they come all apart. But yeah, another John Kent Superman. It's another figure. It's added there. Next is the Rebirth Superman. It basically has the same cape from the Black Sun. I think it's the same body mold. Pretty much everything's the same, except for the belt. It wouldn't have been a bad figure if they just didn't take the cheap way out and draw these ridiculous lines up for the boot where you can clearly, you can see this one wasn't even painted completely. You can still see some of the red under the blue of the trunks of the boots there from the other figure. So, but somewhat of a little disappointment that they could have done better. But it's again, it's a Superman. It's a different version of it. The suit, the colors are a little bit darker. The belt's different. It doesn't have the yellow belt or the loops. It doesn't have the diaper. It's just straight out. But again, the boots is just a turn off. The head, though, it's great. And it works great when I'm swapping the heads around, taking pictures of other stuff around. It's a pretty good face. It actually looks really good on the 1000 Action Comic version. It has a little bit more detail and, it doesn't look as spaced out as the eyes on that one. Still my favorite, but, that body mold with a lot of these heads, looks really good. You should try it. Swap them out. You're probably done by now. I also got the Frank Miller version. I actually like this figure. It's chunky. Huge fan. I remember I was about, what was it? I don't know. I think I was like 11 or 12 when The Dark Knight came out. And a friend of mine had it. And I read it. And I was like, oh my God, this is one of the best books out there at the time. And ever since then, I was glad that they came up with this. So, I was able to get that. I got Batman, Robin, and the Hood and whatever. And this is a pretty cool version. It's different, but, it's just to know that, Frank Miller is being immortalized by Mcfarlane with these figures. It was actually pretty good. So this is one of my favorites. Again, another issue with the peg holes are a little bit too big for the stands, and they're always coming off. But other than that, the figure pretty much holds on its own, doesn't really need a stand. So I'm all right with that. And, when you're doing different things, you can do so much. It's just a great for a figure, for the articulation, for the size of it. It's great. It is single jointed, but that doesn't bother me on the elbows. Again, one of my favorites. I think it's up there in my top 5 of the ones that I own. And I love this figure. I love this Frank Miller version. Even the face sculpt, everything. Another recent one is another Reign of the Superman figure, the Eradicator. It took me a while to get this on because, in my area, I live in a really crappy area. As far as the stores and what they carry, they're always bare. The Walmarts are a mess. And figures like that are very hard to find. But I got lucky one time and I was able to pick up 2. And so I have one clothes and one. I'm not a box collector, but, certain figures I like to keep an extra. and I got this, and it's good. I mean, I wish we could get another version of the regular skin. This is from part of a different storyline, but you know, it's again the death of Superman and the reign of the Superman. It's another one of my favorite story arcs that they did, and I'm glad they did this. So I can't wait for Steel, and I can't wait for Cyborg. I mean, that has to be good because I've seen the Mafex versions and they're outstanding. A little bit beyond my price range. I do not, you know, I don't see myself spending that kind of money on those figures when I can get, you know, 5 or 6 depending on the deals that Mcfarlane might have or deals on the thing for just one figure. I know they're great, and hey, all power to the ones that are able to afford them and own them. They're just a little bit out of my budget for now, and I don't know if I'll ever get any of them. They're just a little bit too much commitment when it comes to those figures. Another cool figure which I thought was different was the death metal zombie Superman. I mean, it's a zombie Superman, and again, it's another part of a storyline that I wasn't too familiar with, so I had to go back and research a little bit. And it's, you know, it's another reality, another world, an alternate world, and I guess all the heroes are dead, so they were brought back to life. I wish they would have had the ring. He doesn't have the lantern ring, which would have been cool. And I'm not much of a customizer on doing things, but maybe I'll swap it out with one of the other rings. Maybe, you know, give him some black gloves or something. But it's different. The texture, the suit, it was nicely done. I can dig it. The metal on it, the silver stands out. Nicely done. No smudges, no nothing. So, and last but not least is well, actually no, I'm sorry, I have 2 more. I do have the Page Puncher Superman. I think this is one of the better figures out there now. It's right up there with the 1000th version. The details of it, you know, the body tone, the sculpt, it's all great. I mean, the color, I dig the blue, I dig the whole thing. This one's a nice, the cape, obviously, I think I've seen that before somewhere, I have it here. But the details of it is hit, you know, they suffer from the giant hands, especially the open ones, but it's a nice figure. I really enjoy this figure. It's everything about it is just, I wish they would have had the S in the back. That would have nailed it perfect. But everything is very proportioned besides the hands, the face, the look of it, the sculpt, everything. It's nicely done. And of course, the more recent, well, I ran out of room here. Let me back up a little here. Let me get rid of that glare. What the hell was that? And then ones that recently got my hands on was, of course, the Superman on Chain patina version. I've opened it up and I've already done a video, but I ended up putting it back in the case. So let me just move this up a little, which is the metal washed, rusted version of the Unchained blue and red version. I love it. I dig it. The stand, I think it's one of the few that I'm actually going to keep in till I get a better display for them, or a bigger, another detox that I'm running out of room now. It'll stay in the box, but it's one of its better version. It's just nicely done. It's I was gonna pass on it, but you know, Mcfarlane got my hands on it, and I'm glad. So you know, I thank them. Their customer service is great, and their figures is great. So I know there's a lot of figures that have been released on pre-order or reveals, and you know, it just keeps getting better and better. Yes, we are starting to see a lot more of the repaints or and stuff, but he's still cranking up these one-shot figures and one-shot series figures, and it's expanding, and it's making everybody's collection stands out. And I know there's a lot of hardcore fans that love them. There are people that love their figures but always find something to criticize. Yeah, I might have some issues with some of the stuff, but hey, you know, he's still putting out figures. They're still affordable. You know, you get 20 bucks. Yeah, you know, don't get your huge selection of hands or, you know, effects or swappable heads. But hey, it's still 20 bucks. It's still affordable. They're good figures. They're nicely detailed. And for the most part, if you do find something wrong with them, it's just minor and it's stuff that you can live with. So, and that's it, man. That concludes my whole Superman. Let me put this back in collection, my updated version. I'm sure with the more Superman coming, it will grow and grow. So who knows, maybe several months from now or a year from now, we'll maybe do an update or progress on how it's, if it's going to grow or if it's just going to stay steady. And as always, guys, thank you for your support. I know we've reached over 200, so I'm thinking one of these days, I'm trying to put together a giveaway to your faithful fans, those that have been stuck with me. I know the videos are not the best, but, you know, it's just me. It's my honest opinion. It's, you know, me displaying my collection. For those of you who follow me here and follow me on Instagram, thank you, because that page actually took off really well. We're nearing 1,000 followers, which I'll end up tying both the giveaway for both accounts so everybody can get a chance to crack at the figure. I've worked on the details on a couple figures, so I might do one and then maybe do another one if when I do reach the 1,000. And, you know, as I get to 250 here, which is now my goal. As always, I wasn't expecting much. So again, I appreciate the support as always. And like always, you know, keep supporting each other, you know, be nice to each other, continue to be a fine figure. And as always, I will see you later.